Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the bell.
Yo, be a father. If not, why bother, son? A boy can make them, but a man can raise one. Be a father to your child. Be a father to your child.
Blast off. Welcome.
And we're back. And we're back.
And we're black. I mean, back. Yo, what up, E? You look confused.
What up, man? Always confused. I have a newborn or a toddler or an infant or whatever you call it at this stage.
A 5-month-old now?
She's about to be 6 on the 9th.
Already?
Yeah, dude.
Moving.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We just introduced giving her first compotas. So that's baby food for non-Hispanics. And it's been interesting. Like, we just started introducing it. We started with carrots and then peas, which seemed like peas might have given her some kind of a rash or something on her cheeks. Her cheeks got like really like red and stuff. So we put that to the side. And then today we gave her pumpkin, and she seemed to like it. And she gets super excited when we're giving it to her. It's mad cute, dude.
Wait till you see the change in those ingredients in the diapers.
Oh, no. We already started to see it. Like, right now, it's kind of cute still. Like, oh, right. Look at the difference. Oh, wow. But I'm sure once more and more solids start coming through,
hey, yo,
it's gonna get interesting.
Get that deuce.
Actually, and I'll probably keep coming back to this quite a few times on this podcast with UK, but give me a quick play-by-play again with the potty training thing again, because she's about to be 6 months.
Okay.
And you said you started at 5 months.
Yeah, so get the portable potty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then every time it seems like she has to go to the bathroom or whatever, then you just start.
But how in the hell do you foresee that she goes to the bathroom whenever the hell she wants, man?
Yo, sign language, B.
Real talk.
I'm gonna get the book title for you. My wife keeps telling it to me, and I keep forgetting it. I'm gonna get it for you. But I mean, there was basically some just like quick sign language and a way to communicate with the baby, and the baby can kind of begin to communicate with you back to let you know when they're but feeling like doing something.
How do you communicate if, for example, most of the time it's when the baby's laying off to the side and you turn your back and you're doing something and you go back and that's it? Like, and she doesn't speak, and unless she's gonna do a like Morse code. It's not, I really don't. Unless you're just sitting there looking and waiting for the sign language, I don't know.
At the beginning, a lot of times it's like when you're paying attention, right? It's like when you guys are like kind of in.
But that's still without Pampers. You're saying you're doing it still without Pampers.
No. I mean, some people go drastic with it. No, we still at the beginning at like the 5-month mark, we still had diapers on them, right? Okay. Because we were kind of new to that whole like getting rid of and starting early and getting rid of everything. It's after they start getting used to going on a potty, at least to do number one, then you start getting that flow of communication, and this takes a little bit of time, and then them understanding, like being able to communicate with you, like when they have to go to the bathroom, then you can begin to ease up off of the diapers. Some people just go cold turkey out the gate. And they
I don't see how that's even possible.
And then other people like myself, my wife, we just found a way that kind of we felt comfortable with, that got us out of the diapers quick, but was also, we weren't trying to get mess all over the place. You know what I mean? So
yeah, share that book, man, because that must be some magic.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely
some sorcery being pulled off there, because I can't imagine this little baby being able to do anything that says, hey, it's on again. Like, I know you just changed my diaper, but it's about to happen again, right? Like, I changed her diaper, and literally within 10 minutes she had peed again. Like I don't know how that would work.
Speaking of diapers, I just learned, my son schooled me last night and Manny, maybe you've heard this already, but apparently, at least in his school or in some of his friends, There's a new kind of eeny, meeny, miny, mo that they do.
No. Well, tell me more.
The suspense.
So it's pretty short, but it's pretty funny. He goes, Donald Trump picked his butt all the way to Pizza Hut.
I haven't heard that one.
That's pretty good. I wonder what so that's you're in the West Coast, Santa Monica. So I wonder what the version of that is in like Kentucky.
I don't know.
You know, or something like that.
Or Miami.
Or Miami.
Fuck, that was interesting.
I haven't heard that, but I'm sure something like I bet you tomorrow he'll come back with some shit like that.
Are you dressing your daughter up tomorrow, E? First Halloween?
I mean, yeah, like nothing, not like a full on costume. Yeah. Today actually we dressed her, and my mom bought her something like Halloween themed. We went to visit my grandma who's in like a nursing home right now getting rehabilitation. So we dressed her today, and then tomorrow we're planning on dressing her up again in something like more, just Halloween related. And then my neighborhood, which is a new development, is trying to get all proactive and do like this. Have you ever heard of this? Damn, what do they call it? Trunk funk or treat? Oh, trunk or treat?
No.
Yeah, so supposedly trunk or treat. They passed out these flyers, and they're saying that you open your trunk and you put stuff. You decorate your trunk, and then you put the candy in the trunk, and you hang out in front of your driveway with your trunk open, and whoever has the best trunk wins like a prize and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna do none of the trunk stuff. So
no, you already had somebody come into your car already.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit in front of my crib. Got my mom coming over, my girl's grandmother. We're gonna dress up the baby, and then just sit there with candy and see the kids' costumes given. And then my neighbors are doing like a potluck where everybody's supposed to go over. I don't know if I guess I'll say what's up, but yeah, whatever, neighborhood stuff.
But are you dressing up yourself?
I'm not dressing up. No, man.
How about you, Kay?
I've got like a default like mask that my son has that I end up wearing every year, and I just put it on the top of my head. It's like,
yo, y'all are whack, son. Y'all are...
You seem like the dress up type dude, man. What are you gonna dress up as? Wonder Woman?
No, but close. Olive oil.
That makes sense.
Nah, I'm gonna be Popeye. My wife's gonna be Olive Oil.
I'll dress up as Lou Ferrigno.
I was the Cowardly Lion last year, bro, from The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, so you go all in.
I thought you were him.
Nah, I am him. I'm trying to explain.
Do you does your oldest daughter still go out, or did she say nah, no more trick or treating?
Nah, she's still
down into it.
Yeah, she's still down. She's gonna be what is it? A zombie.
Okay, so it's a full-on family affair then, huh?
Yeah. The only thing we haven't quite done yet is like the coordinated family costume thing. We're gonna reach that cornball level at some point soon, but we're not there yet. Damn, y'all whack, son. I thought I was dealing with some like in the spirit kind of cats.
I'm in the spirit. I'm just not in the spirit of dressing up. Now maybe when she gets a little older and she might ask me to or want me to, or maybe I will. But I put in some decorations. I put a big spider web in front of the crib and pumpkins and little, orange lights that my girl thinks are corny, and candles, the fake candles that light up at a certain time. And I'll probably have a smoke machine out there tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna bring a little thing and play like Halloween themed music and stuff. So I actually love Halloween. I've always liked it since a little kid in terms of it like kicking off the holiday seasons, and it's just like the trail to presents on Christmas. So it's like Halloween was, and it was beginning of like the holidays for school, like, the days off and the cartoons. I loved all the Charlie and the Pumpkin Patch and all that stuff. Right. So I definitely I love the season. I love the time of the year, the weather, everything, man. So I'm definitely that dude.
All right, good. Oh, actually, I have an update just to go back a little bit. So we're talking about potty. My daughter's still not really rocking with it.
No, I just tried it.
You said party
No.
in a Dominican way.
Oh,
Talking about the party.
in a Bostonian way, the patty. Nah, she's like if we're lucky, we get one squat a week where she actually does something. Otherwise, she's like running away, like in a corner. Luckily, she's not lying to us because when we catch her in the act, she's like, "Yeah, I'm doing it," and then we race her to the potty.
Yeah.
But she's not really feeling it.
It's consistency. That's all it is.
That's the hardest thing ever, bro.
I know. But I guess that's really the deal with kids is at least in my limited experience, that the consistency, even if it's painful, seems to pay off.
It's true. It's true.
Not easy.
No, not at all. Not at all. I have a fun story. So my daughter, she was in a basketball tournament a couple weekends ago, and one of the parents got into it with the refs, like hard body, like the ref wasn't making the right calls or whatever. Like he wasn't blowing the whistle when he should have for our team.
Right.
And this guy had enough. And he was like, blow the damn whistle, mad loud. And then he did it a few times, and the ref wasn't having it at some point. It was like, you're out of here, get out, like kicked him out or whatever. And as he's walking out, he's like getting up in his face, like, ah! It was like mad. It was like the most respectful screaming match I've ever seen. Nobody threw no hands. It was just like in your face, jarring, screaming. And then, he finally bounced. But from a, just from a father perspective, like, I got pissed off to that point, but, well, not to that point, but enough where I rationalized what the behavior that he was exhibiting and was like, I get it. And I wasn't like, it wasn't condoning it necessarily, but I understood it. And then I see his daughter, she got fouled. They blew the whistle right before that all happened. And his daughter's at the foul line, and she's bawling.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You think she's embarrassed? Or?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And I'm like, shit. Not like, I was like riding hard with the dude. Like, yeah. You right. And then when I see his daughter, I'm like, shit, bro. I get it. And then, so the guy kept watching the game from like an upstairs place where he had no contact with the court or whatever. And after the game, like, he's like, man, I should have been sitting up here from the beginning. And him and his daughter had like a moment. And I was like, shit, bro. Like, and that was the tug of war that I was feeling myself as a parent, A, and B, from the competitive stance of like seeing your kids in that environment. And I'm like, yo, that would have been, I was like, I could have been like a minute away from that being me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is tough when you see like injustice with your kids.
Right.
But I also think that maybe we talked about this before, but just the idea of like we have to be able to let our kids fail. We also have to be able to let our kids navigate situations that maybe don't seem so fair and see how they handle with it. I mean, it's always my first instinct to try to go in and correct stuff and make it right and help him through situations. But, in the end, I'm probably doing him a disservice if I don't let him at least experience, both the highs and the lows and that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's true. In any case, they won the championship for that tournament.
Yeah.
And his daughter balled out. Like that girl was bald. Even before that happened, she was out of her mind, going nuts in there. So it was good. But that was an interesting moment.
Talking about balling, we got to bring on DJ Butch Rock, who's Nori's DJ. His daughter is like, I mean, you would know better. I don't know if you follow him, but she's like huge in college basketball.
Butch Rock's daughter?
Yeah, man.
I had no idea. I didn't even know he was of age to have a kid in college.
Butch Rock is older than us.
I had no idea. He looks, man, young. I've never met him. So I don't know.
Yeah, no. Yeah, his daughter, like, it's really dope because if you follow him, he's at all her games. He's traveled to when they travel, like he went to Spain and he's even taken her to, because they're from the Philippines.
Yeah.
He's taken her to the Philippines to do workshops with the kids in the Philippines.
What?
And she's like, and stuff like that. And yeah, and she's like big. Like if you go on his thing, like, they have like a mural of her in some places. And yeah, I mean, I don't know much about, I'm not the sports guy, but I would say that she's definitely probably on her way to WNBA type of stuff, because she seems like she's really big and, and what she's doing. And he's there he's obviously really into basketball. I mean, that's his kid, and he's really like supportive, and like he's there every step of the way. And it's really, it's fun to watch them and their social media, and they're very close, and it's cool. It's real cool. So I would love to have him on soon.
Well, shout out to Butch Rock. I had no idea. Now I'm gonna follow him.
Oh, we should give it. We should give another shout out to our buddy Ron on the art tip. I want to give him a shout out, man.
Catalyst Design, thank you very much.
For sure. Yeah.
Killing it on our I'm gonna call them episode cards.
We've stepped up. We've finally figured out, I think,
formula.
A formula as it relates to what we're talking about, and so big shout out to Ron and Catalyst Design.
Word up.
Yeah, man.
Word up. All right. So
now, yes, we have another guest, right?
Yeah. Do you wanna? No, is it time yet?
Yeah, about that time.
Well, let's get him on.
Yeah, about that time. I just want to introduce Rob. We got Rob Markman, who's a great journalist and an artist himself. Done a lot of things. If you don't know him, you should. And yeah, man, thank you for joining us.
Nah, man, thanks for having me, man. That's it. I like that, man. Great artist, great journalist. Like, I'm playing the two. I feel like Ken Griffey right now.
You're killing it right now, brother. You're killing it.
And from what I've heard,
did Ken Griffey play two sports? No, he didn't. Bo Jackson did. Ken Griffey did.
Bo Jackson.
I feel like Bo Jackson. I got my references messed up.
And from what I've heard, a great father as well. I mean, I've heard you. So shout out to Premium Pete. I heard you on his show a couple times, and he got into your role as a father a bit, and I was really interesting to hear, and the way that you put priority for your family and all that good stuff. So definitely one of the reasons why we wanted to have you chop it up with us a bit.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the most important thing to me. At the end of the day, like, the music business is great and it's fun and it's a dream to work in the music business, but I don't put nothing above my family. Like, if any part of this meant that I had to sacrifice time for my sons, then it's a no-brainer. We're not doing it,
Yep.
All right.
Just to lay it out. What's the dynamic in your home? Is it how many kids do you have, and how does your household operate?
Yeah, no, it's me and my wife, and my two sons. I got a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, and my wife at this point, stays at home with the boys, and just kind of keeps everything home in order, because as you guys know, the music industry, the record business, is very unpredictable. It's a lot of late nights. There's a lot of traveling. Just out of town, and so she provides the stability, which was really I think she has the hardest job. But yeah, it's just, other than that, just like kind of, man, it's a cool little house, man, a cool little household. Man, and the kids are doing great, man. I'm blessed for it.
You got started pretty early, it feels like.
Yeah. Also, I think I'm older than I look. So I had my first son. I was 25 when I had my first son.
Yeah, you definitely look young, a lot younger than what reality is. That's dope.
Yeah, I'm 38 now. So I had my first son when I was 25, and the thing about that, when I had my first son, I had just graduated college, not too long ago. It took me a minute to finish college because I was working. I worked through college, and I was working in the mailroom, for a company. And after I got my degree, I knew I was cut out for more. I really wanted to get in the music business. It just wasn't happening. And when I had my first son, I was still working in the mailroom. And there were a lot of people in my life, some family members, some friends, some fake friends, who really kind of talked down. Everybody just wondered where I was going with my life. Like, here I was with a family and working. in a mailroom where people didn't see a career. And, you know, I didn't really see a career for myself there. And it was a struggle for me. But, you know, through that mailroom job and with my wife and her job as a teacher at the time, we were able to buy our first house, you know, while I was working in the mailroom.
That's real.
And I would do little freelance articles for like The Source and Vibe and stuff like that. So I would save writing money, but I wasn't in the music industry full time. And, you know, we were able to buy our first home, so we were proud of that. The funny thing is when I got into the music industry, you know, around the time when we met with Scratch Magazine,
I
actually took less money. I was making less money working
than you
in
did
Scratch
in the
Magazine
mailroom?
than I was in the mailroom.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But you saw the ceiling.
hit.
You saw the ceiling was higher, I assume.
Yeah, there was more of a future in it. So I took a chance, but it was hard at the beginning. Now you got to remember, I come into Scratch Magazine, I come into publishing, I come into the music industry. I already got my first crib.
Yeah.
That I just hustled for. You know, me and my wife hustled for it. And then I'm taking less money, and I got my son.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, Scratch Magazine didn't last that long. Scratch Magazine folded. So I was at Scratch for a couple of months, and I knew when they hired me it was on its last leg, so we were trying to save the magazine. And my wife, you know, during that run, my wife tells me that, you know, she's pregnant. We didn't plan to have our second son, but she's like, yo, I'm pregnant. So, you know, of course I'm happy and I'm thrilled. A couple of weeks after I found out she was pregnant, Scratch Magazine folded and I lost my job and I was unemployed.
Crazy.
So it was tough. And then, like, I had to take out a second mortgage. It got hard paying the mortgage and stuff like that. And there was a time when I didn't think I was going to make it. There was a time when I thought that being in the music industry and me kind of chasing this dream, that I failed my family a bit because there wasn't as much stability. And there was definitely a time when I was like, damn, I should have stayed in the mailroom. You know what I'm saying? At least I could have done that forever with my eyes closed. So, you know, it was hard. And, you know, that comes back to me saying, like, you know, the music is great, but it ain't worth sacrificing your family and letting your family down and not being able to provide. But luckily, things worked out, you know?
Let me ask you, Rob, real quick. That story you're telling in that time frame, I know you've always been an artist, like you've always been an MC, but you weren't going full throttle with it. And now that it's kind of like become, you know, parallel career to everything else you're doing, do you think it's at the right timing? Because maybe when your children were younger, do you think it would have been more difficult to be able to do all the things you're doing now as an artist?
Yeah, you know, especially the artist. I had always done the artist, always done music, man. I remember waiting till my son fell asleep when he was a baby and setting up. I used to have a Roland, because at this time, look, I'm broke. I don't got no money for studio time. I used to have a Roland 1680, a little 16 digital track recorder, and I used to set up the mic in the kitchen in my parents' house. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like record mixtapes and stuff like that when my son was sleeping. It was tough. You know, I had a producer that I worked with in Miami, my man Roberto Flack, Rob Love. I used to come in and out of Miami, Fort Lauderdale to work with him.
That's how I met you too?
Yeah, with Haz, through Haz. But, you know, me having a son at the time, it was hard. And my wife definitely looked at me like, yo, what are you doing? Like, because it wasn't bringing in any money.
Yeah.
But she was right, man. Like, you know, there was times when she'd look at me funny, but she was always, like, super supportive. It was just hard. And the other thing that was hard was me working at Double XL when I finally, after being laid off from Scratch for a couple of months, and then I got a job at Double XL, they were looking at me like the music was a conflict of interest.
Right.
So, again, I'm working at Double XL, and I started hearing rumors that they were going to fire me because they saw that I had a mixtape on Two Dope Boys. When at the time I wasn't hiding it. Like, it wasn't a secret. Like, you know, the only thing is when I would take pictures, I was always super self-conscious, especially when I was younger, about having glasses. So whenever I took my rapper pictures, I would take my glasses off. So, like, anybody who was on That Right or Two Dope Boys could see, but I guess because I didn't have my glasses, most people didn't recognize me. It was like Clark Kent and Superman, you know what I'm saying? But it had came to me like people was telling me like, yo, they about to fire you because of this music. And I got a call late night for somebody who worked at XXL, like high ranking at XXL, who I trusted, and told me, it was like, yo, bro, they about to ask you over this music thing. And it hurt, you know, so I put music to the back. I said, nah, I can't risk losing my job again, because when I was laid off from scratch, I dug a hole for myself financially. Like, I'm using the credit card for everything, like gas, groceries every week. Like, the credit card is helping me get by. So by the time I get the job at XXL, I refinance the house, all of this, I'm starting to dig myself out of a hole. But I wasn't making no money at XXL neither when I first got there. Like, it was whack, the salary. And I'm like, even though the salary is whack, I can't lose this job. Like, what I'm going to do if I get fired, I'm going to come home and my wife and kids will be like, damn, Dad, how you lost the job? And I'll be like, oh, because I wanted to put out a mixtape.
Right.
Like, I had to man up, and I had to put that to the side for the sake of my family, you know? So I had gotten to a point in my career where, you know, I was just like, damn, I had done so much stuff now that I work at Genius. And, you know, I'm 15 years in the game, and I'm a veteran, and my work speaks for itself, and it's solidified, and I think everybody knows that my heart and my intentions are pure. I said, let me try this music thing again, because it's always been a dream of mine, and that's I put it to the side. So everything worked out for a reason, you know?
Let me ask this, Rob. So your kids are a little older. What do they think about you as an artist, or do they still think you're cool, or are they like, it's just Dad doing?
They still. Their favorite rappers is still Drake and Kendrick, man. I don't even know play in my own house. Nah, but it's cool. They're excited about, like, the moments that they get to witness. Like, I had, like, an in-store at the Apple store in Brooklyn. Wow. Like, they came through for that. So, like, that was kind of crazy. I performed at Barclays Center with Logic, so my kids got to see that. I thought that was a special moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Because my son at the time, he's like 12 at this time. And I wrote my first rap when I was 12. And so, you know, he's in the Barclays, and he's like in the seats, and I come out and I do my thing. And when we got home later that night, me and my son, I mean, we stood up for hours just talking. He just had so many questions. He was like, yo, so let me ask you a question. He's like, you wrote your first rap when you were my age, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, so that's been your dream ever since you was 12 years old? I was like, absolutely. And he was like, and it came true. Like, look at you, you're on stage. And then he translated to himself. He was like, yo, does this mean that I could do anything that I want to do? Wow. Like, anything I dream of now, I could actually make it happen? And I'm like, absolutely. So at the end of the day, that's worth more than any album sale to me. That's worth more than any stream, any radio play, anything. It's like, you know, because my whole thing is called Right to Dream. Mm-hmm. And it's really telling people you got the right to dream. You could do what you want to do and don't let nobody get in your way. And while I'm telling this message to the world, I really wanted I want my sons to soak this up.
Yeah, the most important people in your life.
The message. Yeah. So now that they're soaking up the message,
that's a big
breakthrough. Right, that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they see me on stage when you know my video gets played, or you know they see me like on Hot 97 or hear me on the radio and stuff like that. Like it really, you know, they take pride in it. It's cool, but I'm still not their favorite rapper yet. Right. I got more work to do. I gotta get this Drake guy out the way. So.
Hey, good luck, bro.
I know. You ever seen that Dave Chappelle skit when his son is like, oh, Nick Cannon, he's hilarious. And he's like, Nick Cannon don't pay these goddamn bills. Like, it feel like that, man.
You know what, though? They can have other favorite rappers. At least they got some people that got some wordplay.
Yeah, man. No, don't put me in that category.
They say it could be worse.
No, I'm saying it could be way worse.
His favorite rappers, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
That's the wordplay. Yeah. You know, it's funny though. My youngest son is like me, like, cause we'll drive around and you know listen to the radio or whatever, and I think it was Lil Pump was playing. Mm-hmm. It was like Gucci Gang, and so I'm there. You know, it's playing on the radio. So I'm singing along, survive, right? So, because I thought my son liked it, Gucci Gang, that's what the kids like. So I'm there rapping, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, and my youngest son is looking at me like I'm a moron. he's like, yo, Dad, can you change this? He was like, I was like, why? I thought Lil Pump, I thought that you and your friends like Lil Pump. He was like, yo, this song is so stupid. It's only like 2 words in the whole song. He was like, yo, can you put on Kendrick's album or something?
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's really my son. You know what I mean?
Damn.
So listening to music with your kids, how do you go about, or do you censor it all, or do you try to push them in a direction of hearing certain songs over others, just in terms of like the content? And I mean, I guess every parent is a little bit different in terms of how they handle that. Like if you had to sit down and kind of like break down what some of the lyrics are for the songs that they're listening to, so that they better understand it, or you just kind of let them and their friends figure that out?
I kind of let it happen naturally. Like up until recently, I would just only play the radio, only play clean music around them. You know what I'm saying? But my oldest son listens to whatever he wants. He has his own map of music, so I know what he'd be listening to. He's 13. I had to think about what I was doing when I was 13, so I let him rock. But I remember my oldest son, I remember things like they were just always so inquisitive because music was always around. I remember driving in the car, Best I Ever Have came out, so that was 2009. That means my oldest, had to be like 4 at the time. And we're driving around listening to Drake, Best I Ever Had, and he has that line, double cup love, you the one I lean on. And I remember my son at 4 years old was like, Dad, what does double cup love mean?
Oh, man.
And I was just like, holy shit. So I explained at 4 years old, I was like, listen, there's some people that drink something, it's called lean. Like I broke down the bar. This is years before I work at Genius, mind you. And I'm
you
like,
annotated it for him.
Yeah. So, there was that. So I'm open. If they have questions, I'm open. And then, recently too, the talk I had with my oldest son is just like the music, but everything, like the things you hear aren't necessarily real, like what, as it pertains to women and sex. And I was like, look, man, he's 13, man. So I know he's seen porn on the internet.
Right.
Like, I know he listens to certain records and a certain run. And I'm like, yo, those are all exaggerated versions of sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how sex really is. So, with my oldest one, I'm at the age of where I let him absorb all that shit because he's going to see it anyway. It don't make no sense to try to fight it. But I just want him to know what the reality is. So I always try to reinforce that with some type of reality,
So just kind of delving a little bit into your own, fatherhood story. How was your relationship with your dad, and what was his presence in your life as you were growing up?
Awesome, man. My father was amazing. I grew up with my mom and my dad. They had split up for a while when I was like around high school. They had split up, but they got back together a couple of years later. So, I mean, there was rough parts, there was ups and downs, but even when my parents split up, I ended up staying with my dad and not my mom. My dad is dope, and I've seen him. Listen, my dad has, he's had issues, real kind of serious issues growing up. Like there was plenty of times when I seen my dad at his lowest, and I see him less than perfect. And we all have demons, right? We all have certain shit that we struggle with. So I've seen my dad struggle, but he was always loving and supportive, like through it all. Even when he was at his worst, he was always there for us. So my dad is like he was the best man at my wedding. Like I have 2 best friends, and I couldn't figure out who to choose as my best man. And when I thought about it, my dad is always there for me. Like it would be whatever. I call my dad right now and yo, Pop, I got a flat tire, I'm stuck, and he'll come, you know what I'm saying, help me change it or whatever. So, we've always had that dope relationship. And he, my dad, though, wasn't the cool, I hope I'm more of a cool dad. Mm-hmm. My dad wasn't necessarily like a cool dad. Like, he was like the type, for example, he would never buy me Jordans or nothing like that. He just never saw the value in it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or if I wanted some Guess or some Hilfiger or some Polo, he might not buy it. I remember one time he came home, he was hyped. He found a store of all bootleg gear, like bootleg gear.
We've all gone through that.
And he let me borrow. He said, "Man, you get everything you want in here, man." But it was fake. But he ain't know it was fake.
Right, he just knew it was
prices
was right.
Yeah. Well, me, I'm a little bit the opposite. Like my son, I remember the first day of school, one of my sons, the kids was teasing him or teasing other kids about their sneakers. This was the what are those phase, and
right.
I came home. My son came home. I said, "Yo, anybody tease you about your sneakers?" And he was like, "Dad, I don't care about that." I said, "Listen, because if they fucking tease you about your sneakers, we're gonna go to the mall right now. I'll buy you a new pair of Jordans every day of the week. I don't give a fuck. You gonna shit on this kid whole life." Like it's the opposite of my dad. But he was cool. Other than he didn't want to buy his expensive clothes and shit, he was cool, man. He used to take us out to play ball all the time. You know, he would always. My thing when I was a kid was going to the comic book store and going to buy CDs. So he would always, you know what I'm saying? Let me go to the comic store and let me go.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, that was my go-to.
So do you see a lot of? Do you take a lot from your dad? You know, the way he raised you, and do you infuse it into the way you raise your kids?
I try, man. I try. You know, my dad too. He was cool. Like we could always come to him, but he wasn't always in my face. Like I feel like I try to be in my kid's face a little more. I had a lot of freedom with my dad. You know what I mean? He trusted us a lot, and knowing that, you know, I was a good kid, but I also got into a lot of bullshit. So I like the one thing I could see. I think as a kid I could fool my dad easy. Like I kind of lie to him or get over on him, or you know, say I was going to the library but really going to a friend's house, or you know what I'm saying. And my sons can't get over with that because I did all those tricks. So when my sons try to be slick, I always catch them. You know what I mean? But for the most part, yeah, like if I could be a father like my father was to me, I think I did my job.
Has your parenting come like just instinctively? Like when you had your first son, did you kind of know what to do? I mean, based on how your parents raised you, whether good or bad, or did you just kind of throw everything out the window and say, I'm just gonna do what feels right for me?
Yeah, I just have to learn. It's not, we never really had to talk about it or how to parent. I mean, I think I just learned. And I'm also picked up from my wife. Like my wife is very motherly. Like, you know, she's a teacher, though she stays at home now. She got her master's in education, in early childhood education. So she's around kids all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I always kind of looked at my wife and just like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, how we going to discipline them? How we going to handle this? How we going to teach them? How we going to educate them? So having her, you know, it's been, you know, it's been a blessing, man. Like, I know.
How do you deal with conflict?
You know, what happened with conflict?
How do you deal with conflict? No, with your sons, especially since they're at an age now where
that's another podcast.
Yeah. What's kind of the standard? I mean, I know each situation's different. I'm sorry to cut you off, but since you talking about that, I was curious.
You know, at this point, is punishment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've never been the type to really hit my kids or nothing like that. Like, I never felt like that would work. My youngest son is more sensitive. So, you know, my youngest son, like, he'll upset if you just tell him, yo, I'm disappointed in you. Like, he really takes that to heart. You know what I'm saying? Because he's really a good kid and he wants to do the right thing. So, you know, I just talk to him, you know, and you know, punishment, I take away the things that they value the most, which at this point is like video games. You know what I'm saying? Or is that my son?
Sorry, is that like taking away the video games? Do you find that to be the most impactful to get your point across, or is it something else?
Yeah, that's usually the most impactful when I take things, because I give them so much. I ain't gonna lie, man. I probably spoil my kids, so they have so much. Like they don't, you know what I'm saying? That they don't necessarily have to ask me twice for anything. But they really doing really good in school. They're really nice kids, well-mannered kids. So I don't mind doing that stuff for them. But you know, I have to take it away. Like recently, my son was having trouble in school in math, And he's a great student. He's an honor roll student. You know what I'm saying? Been an A student his whole, career. Life up until this point. And he's been having trouble in math, and his grades have been super slipping. And so I took his video games away. And it wasn't a punishment, though. Like, I did it as a punishment, but I'm like, yo, you're having trouble in math. Like, you don't get it. Like, I feel like, yo, dude, at this point in your life, everything's come easy to you. Like, you're just naturally smart, so you don't have to study much. You get it. I'm like, you're having trouble here, so you need to apply a little more attention to your math work. I need to take away your video game so you can reset your priorities. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't even like punishing him. Just I'm taking it away. Yeah, this is punishment. But listen, I'm taking it away, and you got to reorganize your life. You got to rethink your priorities. You got to set your schedule and dedicate more time to studying, and then we could give it back once you bring that grade up. And you got to go get a tutor. So it wasn't just taking it away from him to punish him. It was like, because we do it, right? Like, there's sometimes, like, we're doing a bunch of different things, and you might, your priority at work or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may be slipping. Yeah. You need to take a step back and reassess. So more so than punishing him, I was really teaching him to take a step back and reassess.
Teach you responsibility, too.
Get it right. Yeah. So, and, thank God, knock on wood, is working. Like, he's brought his math grade up the last couple of weeks. And, because I felt bad. I didn't want to punish him because he didn't know, because he was having trouble in math. I thought that was the wrong message to send either. Because he was trying. He just probably wasn't trying hard enough. He probably just needed that extra whatever. So I didn't want to punish him. I didn't want to make him feel like he was stupid or nothing like that, because he's an incredibly smart kid. He just had to readjust his priorities.
What about, so as you've navigated your career and you've done a bunch, worn many hats, how do you look at your kids as far as involving themselves in similar types of employment or extracurricular activities, call it, to try to earn a buck? Do you wish for them the same kind of thing, or do you try to help or think about them outside of those elements?
Yeah, I've been thinking, because I got my first job when I was 13. You know what I'm saying? And it was really because, like I said, my pops wouldn't buy me Jordans. Like, I wanted a pair of Jordans. And I was going to get them by any means. Oh, okay, you're not going to buy them?
Had a lasting effect.
Yeah, I'm about to get this job. You know what I'm saying? And that was my first motivating thing. I guess my son doesn't really have that, because I get them everything they want. But, I need to start instilling in them, and at this point, especially for the 13-year-old, that you got to work for things. You know what I mean? Like, things just don't come easy. Like, they come easy to you because you're a child, and we could afford these things, but now you're going to have to start working. So, that's the stage that we're at now. As far as career goes, I don't think any of them, I don't think my oldest one will do music. Like, he's not into it. Like, he's into music, like, casually as a fan and listens to it, but he's more into computers and science and stuff like that. I think he might go more down like a science lane. My younger one's into music. I might could see him doing music, but for me, it's whatever they want, whatever they love. Like, I think that's the lesson. It's like, yo, pick something that you love. Don't pick it because of the money. Don't pick it because you think it's gonna make me happy. That old school thing, like, yo, I gotta be a lawyer or a doctor. Yeah, you kind of doing it for the parents. It's like, man, do what you love, and the money will come.
And would you feel any kind of way if your youngest did want to go into music, knowing what you know about music and the instability and all that kind of stuff? Would you try to steer him out of it, or you just guide him?
Nah, if he truly loved it, I would encourage it.
That's cool.
Right. Ultimately, they have to have a real, true passion for it, and not get into it for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, for sure. And that comes with being blessed. It's hard to say that sometimes. I've lived a life where I could afford my kids that lane to follow their passion. I mean, there's some kids out there who have to start working and contributing to the household just to keep the lights on. You know what I'm saying? At 16, 17, or just to figure out a way to put themselves through college or something like that. So, I feel incredibly fortunate in that, yo, man, if you love something, I will support you. If you really working hard towards your passion, I'll support that because I know eventually it'll turn into something. You know what I mean? That's a luxury. That's a generational thing too.
Rob, is there anything like now doing the artist side of things, and even the other stuff you do when you go to events and you network and you travel and you're at parties or whatever? Is there ever a feeling of guilt on your side, or even a guilt trip from your kids, where it's like, why are you doing that? Where why you're doing certain things, networking, and it's a part of the job. Is there ever a conflict?
Nah, it hasn't been. I think they understand it because I think when I'm home, like, we do things. We go out, we do activities, we do things as a family when I'm around. I think they're cool with it. I think because they've always, all their life, I've kind of been in it. So that
right.
I don't think
it's nothing new to them. Right.
Like sometimes, like I'll come home and they'll see me come home from work and like I might have dinner real quick or, kind of just see them off to bed or whatever. And then they'll see me getting ready to go to the studio. A lot of times after work, I'll come home, get dressed, wash up. Like tonight I'm going to the studio. And they'll be like, yo, where you going? Are you going to the studio? Okay, what time are you going to be back? Or they'll see me in the morning like, oh, what time did you get in last night? What song did you do? What did you work on? Like, so they'll have questions about it. Like, they're aware that, I'm kind of in and out and all over the place. But, at least once a day, like, I'm always home in the morning unless I'm out of town. I'm always making sure I'm there every morning to take them to school and get ready to, to help them get ready for school. And, they usually see me at night. Even if I have an event or something, a lot of times I come home first and then go back out. So at least they see me,
Right. Ultimately, the consistency is what reigns supreme for, I think, in the long run with kids.
Yeah.
Have you had to have the convo with them because they're at a little bit of an older age now in terms of just how to navigate, especially like with all the stuff going on with police and how to deal with that whole subject matter? Have you had to sit down and talk to them about that?
Yeah.
And politics too. Yeah. Everything.
Yeah. More so not for how they navigate, but more so what they see on the news. I know when my oldest, he's cool now. He's kind of settled in. But when he was coming of age, like, just a year ago, maybe going from 12 going on to 13, just seeing the things on the news, I could sense stressed him out. Seeing, cops murdering people and getting away with it and protests and just kind of the world and disarray and Trump. And, so we talk about politics a lot. And it's funny because there's some things that my son doesn't understand or views the world differently than how I do, So we talk about it. We talk often about kind of like, politics and more so like just the things that happen in the world, just recently, the synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh.
Right.
We talked about that. Like, the kids see it, One time my son was really stressed out about climate change and shit like that. And whether or not the world, like global warming and if the world was going to end. Sometimes you come across these articles where it's like, oh, scientists say, the polar ice caps are melting and and by the year such and such, the coastline will be too hot to inhabit. Or, what I'm saying? Like, you come across those stories. Like, they're on the internet. Like, they read that stuff. And my son is super into science. So, I know for a while that was stressing him out. So, it's just, just talking with him through these things.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, my son is 6, and he's starting to just take in more information, especially from things that are around him and things at school that maybe because when they're younger, you're used to being around them a lot more when it's not school, and they just he's taking in more information, and now it's like he's asking more questions about different things, especially as it relates to just what goes on in the world, and some of it's catching me off guard a little bit, like, all right, I guess it's time to start talking about some of these different things, and because it definitely affects them, or at least give them a heads up on what's going on.
It's tough, but you got to be honest with them. I think because I think they know more than we did at a younger age, just because they're exposed to so much more information.
But there's a lot more information to confuse them as well, which is crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
That was E's other baby, the dog, right?
Oh yeah, my dog in the background.
So Rob, you got anything you want to plug, man? I know E's got to jump in a minute.
Nah, yeah. I mean, this feels deeper. This feels more important than the plug, man. I would just tell people out there, whoever's listening, I think being a parent is an opportunity. First of all, your priority becomes your children, but they see your actions and you got to be happy with your life too as a parent, you know what I'm saying? And I think, leading by example and stuff like that. So, I think my kids see me out here pursuing my dreams and pursuing things that I love. And, I think it sparks something in them. So, I would just tell all parents it's hard. I know, especially when you have younger kids and because they require so much more attention. But, let your kids see you happy too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
they definitely pick up on
that rubs off. They pick up on so much. Like, and my dad was a happy person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I picked up on his happiness and his joys. It really goes a long way.
Yeah, agreed.
Great advice.
Yeah, man. I'm glad we have a little platform so we can all talk about this stuff for sure.
Nah, it's super important. It's super important, man. I think, I commend y'all. Like I said, when EFN hit me and asked me and kind of told me the concept, I'm like, I'm all in. Like, this is different. Like, I talk about music all day, but, guys like Premium Pete, like, guys like Sway, who's been a mentor for me. I see how he is with his daughter. Like, his daughter has a playlist on Spotify that him and his daughter curate together.
That's
They
dope.
give chances to up-and-coming artists. Like, and she's so bright. She goes to NYU, and I'm watching her go through college, and I'm watching her grow up. And, that bond, that parental bond, that fatherly bond is so important. And I think a lot of times in hip-hop, we didn't see it. We heard so much stories about, so many growing up without their fathers and without a father figure. And I think we're in a generation now where fathers want to be present. I think Pusha T had this great quote, and you can see examples of it all around. Like, if you go back, listen to the music that we came up on, listen to like Exhibit Paparazzi.
Yeah.
Right? It's such a dope. Was that the song? That was the one for his son?
No,
Foundation.
Yeah.
Foundation. I'm buzzing.
Yeah.
Foundation was to his son. Like,
yeah.
Now I wonder where that kid was. I think his son's name was Trey. Like, it would be amazing to see where that kid is now. Like we grew up and we heard songs like that, you know what I mean, which was dope to the point. I remember Pusha T had a quote that he was like, yo, like, if you're not taking care of your kid, you can't even hang out with us. I don't want you in the club in the VIP section with me. If you owe child support. Like, fuck out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think with hip-hop really made us into a generation that I think we want to be present and we want to be there for our kids. And that should be dope.
Yeah, we see it so much more now. Everyone's, proud to be a father.
Davies named his whole album after his daughter, Kyrie. Like, there's so many examples of it, man. Yeah. It's crazy. Even Kanye has, I don't know what's going on with Kanye, but you see the kids everywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
obviously Khaled.
Man. Yeah, Khaled. Come on, man. Like, that's crazy. Like, Diddy's son is rapping now. You know what I'm saying? And look just like his pops. And so, it's dope, man. It's just dope to see.
That's it.
And on that note, yeah, man.
Yeah, my brother. You're always welcome here. Please come back.
Right now, man, never.
I got a toddler, so it's gonna be a long run for this show for me.
Yeah, we're giving E weekly therapy here.
I need this.
We're a little bit further down the road than he is. So.
Yeah, it's gonna keep you in shape though, bro. It's gonna keep you on your toes, man. You don't need a gym membership. You just gonna be chasing after the little one.
For sure.
All right,
All right,
fellas.
brothers, man.
Rob,
Yo, appreciate you, dog.
Take care,
All
man.
right, man. Appreciate
Thank you
y'all.
for everything,
Peace.
man. Peace.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the bell.